Picture yourself walking into a room full of strangers, ready to chat, but before you speak, a tiny voice inside your head starts to weigh every word. Do they like this? Am I coming off too strong? That inner voice is the quiet self-talk that runs through our brains 90% of the time, shaping how we interpret ourselves and others in social settings. In this video, we'll break down exactly what that quiet chatter looks like, why it often leads us to misread conversations, and how you can harness or silence it for smoother interactions. First, let's explore the anatomy of self-talk. It's a stream of thoughts that runs through our prefrontal cortex, constantly evaluating social cues, past experiences, and future outcomes. When we're talking with someone, this inner monologue is like a silent commentator, offering feedback on tone, body language, and even the choice of words before they leave our mouths. This commentary can be helpful, guiding us to avoid awkward topics or to steer a conversation toward common ground. But it also has a darker side. When we overanalyze, we start to see patterns that aren't there, creating self-fulfilling prophecies where we think we're being rude and then acting rudeness. That's the first reason why you often misread yourself. Your brain is primed to confirm its own narrative, amplifying any perceived slippage. Second, let's talk about the mirror effect in social perception. Your quiet self-talk doesn't just influence how you see yourself. It also shapes how you interpret others' reactions. If you're convinced you're coming off as arrogant, your brain will focus on subtle frowns or sighs and label them as disapproval, even if the other person was simply thinking about lunch. This selective attention is a cognitive shortcut that saves time but often sacrifices accuracy. Third, we'll dive into the emotional feedback loop. When our self-talk says, "I'm awkward," our body reacts, heart racing, palms sweating, and those physical cues become real signals to others. They might interpret your nervousness as disinterest or discomfort, which in turn feeds back into your internal monologue, reinforcing the negative self-image. That's why a single misstep can spiral into a full-blown misunderstanding. So how do we break this cycle? Step 1. Bring awareness to the inner voice by pausing before you speak. Take a breath and ask yourself if what you're about to say is based on evidence or just an assumption. This simple pause gives your brain a chance to check its own narrative against reality. Step 2. Practice mirror rehearsal, where you imagine how someone else might actually interpret your words, then adjust accordingly. By externalizing the conversation in your mind, you reduce the influence of self-talk and create a more balanced view. Step 3. Use grounding techniques to dampen emotional amplification. Focus on breathing, count backwards from 10, or shift attention to an object around you. This helps calm the physiological response that fuels the negative feedback loop. Additionally, cultivating empathy can help override your own internal bias. When you consciously try to see the situation from another's perspective, you reduce the chance of misreading cues because you're no longer filtering everything through your own anxieties. Another powerful tool is reframing the inner dialogue. Instead of "I'm going to mess this up," reframe it as "this is a chance to learn how they communicate." By changing the narrative, you shift the emotional tone and open yourself to new possibilities. Let's also touch on the role of past experiences in shaping self-talk. If you've been repeatedly misunderstood in childhood or at work, your brain builds a template that assumes misunderstanding will happen again. Recognizing this pattern is key. Once you see it as a learned response rather than an innate trait, you can start to unlearn it. A practical exercise. Keep a short journal after social interactions, noting what the inner voice said and how accurate it was. Over time, patterns will emerge, revealing which thoughts are consistently off track. That awareness is the first step toward rewiring those mental shortcuts. Finally, let's consider the broader social context. Cultural norms, group dynamics, and power structures all influence our self-talk. In a high-stakes meeting, your brain may automatically adopt a defensive stance, amplifying every possible threat cue. Understanding that these reactions are socially conditioned helps you separate them from genuine personal insecurities. So remember, the quiet voice inside your head is powerful. It can either be a helpful guide or a misleading narrator. By pausing, practicing empathy, grounding yourself, and reframing negative thoughts, you can train this inner dialogue to support rather than sabotage your social life. In practice, start small. Focus on one conversation per day where you intentionally apply these techniques, and watch how your interactions shift from misreading to genuine connection. The next time you feel that internal critic pop up, give it a chance to pause, check its assumptions, and let the rest of your brain engage in real-time listening instead. You'll find that conversations become smoother, misunderstandings drop, and you gain confidence in both how you present yourself and how you interpret others. And the best part, this skill grows stronger with practice, turning your quiet self-talk from a hidden saboteur into a reliable ally for every social encounter. What's one conversation you're going to tweak using these tricks? Share your plan in the comments. If this video helped shift your inner dialogue, hit like and subscribe for more mind hacks that turn everyday interactions into confidence boosters.